Alright everyone, here we are with some Tekken 8. I was going to make this video a little over a week ago, but then I remembered the Tekken World Tour Finals was happening. So I decided to delay it, because maybe the finals will change what I'm about to say. Unfortunately, it ended up making it worse. So I always make these types of videos before a new fighting game comes out, and I always like to cover what other content creators are not talking about. And so far, I did it with Street Fighter 6 and I did it with MK1, and I was 100% right about it. I was right about the good things, and I was, more importantly, right about the bad things that ended up happening with those games. And stuff that, you should be concerned about, And with Tekken 8, though, I'm not going to be talking about microtransactions. I'm going to be talking about something different. So, essentially, what happened is the Tekken World Tour Finals happened. And in the Tekken World Tour Finals, they revealed the first character for the season. And this is just extremely worrying to me. Because the one thing I was afraid of for the post-launch support of Tekken 8, I was afraid that the DLC characters were going to be Tekken 7 characters. And so far, here we go, My one wish for the DLC was for one of two things. Either we get guest characters, or we get characters that were not in Tekken 7. Tekken characters that haven't been around for a while. Unfortunately, we got Eddie. And the funny thing is, in that video, the example I used was Eddie. I do not want Eddie to come back. I never thought Eddie was a fun character. I never thought he was fun. And he's just in every game, pretty much. He's in, almost every single game. So, of course, the first character they announced is Eddie. Here's the problem. If you like Eddie or not, that's your opinion. I absolutely do not. But what you can admit, why are we getting only 4 characters throughout the entire year? 4 characters in a whole year. On top of that, why is it a character that was in the last game? You have to admit that is just, what are we doing? At least in Tekken 7, you got 6 characters in the season pass, in the first season pass or something. In this one, you're getting 4 characters. So if it's a reused character, or someone that was in the last game, it's significantly worse. Because you don't have those 2 extra slots. So, yeah, it's not... here's the thing. If anything, even though I absolutely despise Eddie, I don't think he's fun at all, and I think he's annoying to fight against, Christy would have been a better choice, because she wasn't even in Tekken 7. Even though they're the same character, at least that would have been a little different. Because I just think that Eddie should be in every single Tekken game. You wouldn't sell King as a DLC. You wouldn't sell Nina as a DLC. So why would you sell Eddie, And if you're gonna sell Eddie, at least make it Christy to make it more unique, because she's not in every game, I'm really hating the direction they're going, and the game's not even out yet, because I play Street Fighter 6, and they are also experimenting with the 4 character season pass. Their season pass only has 4 characters. And the problem with that is, what I can say about Street Fighter 6 is that even though the game is amazing, the content drought in that game is almost unbearable. And that goes hand in hand with the 4 character season pass. We're 7.5 months since Street Fighter 6 came out, we've gotten 0 new stages and 2 new characters. And here's the thing, at least we know that we're getting new stages in Street Fighter 6. At least we know that there's going to be 2 new stages in Season 1. To my knowledge, unless they end up being free stages, which they were not in Tekken 7, but there are no stages in Tekken 8 that are being added as DLC. So you're paying for a season pass that gives you 4 characters and no stages. At least, if you buy the deluxe season pass in Street Fighter 6, you're getting 4 characters, you're getting costumes for all those characters, and you're getting 2 stages as well. And Tekken 8, it doesn't even, like, they haven't even announced that they're adding stages yet, so we genuinely don't know. And I'm no game dev here, okay? But Tekken, out of every fighting game ever, Tekken is the fighting game that changes the least from game to game. So, I don't understand how Eddie is going to take all this time to develop to the point where we only need 4, you know, character slots. How much time could he possibly take to develop? Like I said, the games don't change that much. Although I will say, Tekken 8 is the biggest change that we've ever seen in Tekken in a very long time. But with that being said, the change from Tekken 7 to Tekken 8 is not even half of the change of MK11 to MK1 or Street Fighter 5 to Street Fighter 6. Those are completely different games. And when you play Tekken 8, you know you're playing Tekken, you know. A lot of the moves are similar. Well, a lot of them are the exact same. Although some characters do have a lot of new moves, like Jin. But you're playing, you know what you're playing, you know. With that being said, why are we only getting 4 characters in Tekken? Again, I don't know how game development works that much, okay? I've never been a developer. And I know that Tekken 8 is the best looking Tekken game. It is, you know, probably the hardest to create the graphics for. I would imagine that takes a very long time to get it looking this polished. But, with that being said, again, most of the moves are the exact same. So, besides the heat moves and the super, how long could it really take to make a Tekken character? Again, I don't know what goes into it. That's just me spitballing because I just have copium right now. Like, why is Eddie taking up one of the 4 character slots? Eddie is a character that's in almost every single game. Matter of fact, he might be in every single game. So, like, what are we doing here? Selling him as DLC? Like, you guys don't understand. If you don't play Street Fighter 6, you don't know how bad the content drought is about to be for you. Because they haven't announced anything in terms of post-launch support besides the 4 DLC characters. But that's also worrying because they haven't announced any new stages, nothing. So, from the details that they have announced so far, the content drought is lining up to be worse than Street Fighter 6. So I'm telling you, just get ready for a rough ride because, I mean, at most you're getting a character every 3 months at most, if you're lucky. So, you know, with Street Fighter we aren't getting a character every 3 months. So yeah, just buckle in because you might be getting. I just couldn't imagine waiting all this time to get Eddie, you know? And I know there's a lot of Eddie fans out there, but you have to admit, I mean, it's not very game changing. You already know how Eddie is going to affect a Tekken game. You know how Eddie is going to play for the most part. It's not like they're introducing a character that hasn't been in the game for years, or a guest character. And I know how people feel about guest characters, but I mean, you can't lie, a lot of the magic of Tekken 7 came from having guest characters, and now we don't know if it's going to have guest characters. And I would imagine it won't, because why are we having Eddie in as the first character? Either way, no matter how you feel about Eddie, you can't lie, it's kind of concerning how we're only getting 4 characters. That's the only post-launch support they have announced so far. And they're getting real scummy with it too, because they're giving you 72-hour early access to DLC characters if you buy the season pass. So if you're someone like me who makes content but has no interest in Eddie, they're kind of pulling me in. You know, they're kind of trying to entice me to buy the season pass. I would essentially be paying for Eddie, which I don't care about. But because of their disgusting old-fashioned ways of not announcing the DLC before the game is out, for example, you know, Street Fighter 6 revealed the whole season pass, everyone that was in the season pass before the game even came out. Same with Mortal Kombat 1, and Mortal Kombat 1 had surprising guest characters. And they revealed it before the game even came out. So you knew exactly what you were buying. And now, Tekken 8 wants you to buy a season pass without telling you who's in it, and they're enticing you to do it by giving you early access to characters, which other games have done before. But again, you know, Mortal Kombat 1 is doing it, but they told you who's in the season pass. You know exactly what you're paying for. Here's the thing, if I'm paying, and I'm using this as an example because I saw this on Twitter. This is a very liked post. Someone's DLC list was Eddie, Julia, Anna, Miguel. That was their Season 1 list. If that was the Season 1 list, I would just quit Tekken because I know there's nothing exciting in the future. So I could potentially be buying a Season Pass for that. All Tekken 7 characters. So essentially what it's coming down to is, and I'm going to give Bandai the benefit here. Like I said earlier, Tekken is a game that does not change. It changes the least between installments than any other fighting game. However, with that being said, even though it changes the least, Tekken 8 is the Tekken game that has changed the most from the last game so far. With that being said, I am not purchasing the deluxe edition of the game with the season pass. But depending on how Eddie looks when we get closer to his release, if he genuinely looks like a blast with all of this heat stuff, you know, all this new heat stuff, maybe he'll get some new moves. If they make Eddie look fun, then I would not mind buying the season pass, because at least I know if the season pass is filled with lame characters, that the systems of Tekken 8 allow them to turn these characters into new characters that might be more fun than they were in the past. So we'll just have to see as time goes on. Anyways, you know, tell me how you feel about the situation. You know, like, subscribe, and yeah. Tekken 8 is like a little over a week away. Peace.